Hi, I'm Burt Ward. I played Robin, the Boy Wonder, in the famous Batman TV series. And I'm on FaceTime with Wowie Zowie, Todd Wharton.
From Times Square in New York City, it's FaceTime with Todd Wharton. With special guest, Burt Ward! And musical guest, Jaylanie! And now, here is your host, Todd Wharton!
So welcome to another edition of FaceTime with Todd Wharton. I'm your man, your host, Todd Wharton. Now, this is a superhero episode. Now, in dedication to our up-and-coming guest, we're going to introduce you guys to a new DC comic book superhero. Well, DC meaning dysfunctional comic book superhero.
What's your emergency?
Yes, it's emergency. Please help.
I'm gonna help you, honey, okay?
Yes, I'm at 123 No TP Way. Please hurry. I don't know how much longer I can hold it off.
The dentist team of support is so steady. Working hard.
Oh, thank God you heard. Have any toilet paper? Man, you stink. We have a great show for you guys tonight from the hit, iconic TV series Batman, The Boy Wonder. That's right, Burt Ward is in the house. And then later on, hip-hop artist Jaylanie will be back performing her hit song, Disbelief, right here on FaceTime with Todd Wharton. So guys, stick around, and we'll be right back after these messages. FaceTime with Todd Wharton is brought to you by Fix Your Fungal Nail by Fix Your Feet Products, formulated by podiatric surgeon Dr. Yolanda Ragland to clear nails of fungal infection. For more information, go to fixyourfeetproducts.com. And by Popcorn Remix, gourmet popcorn remix your way. A variety of flavors is now available for purchase by visiting popcornremix.com. Popcorn Remix, the taste is in the name. So welcome back to the show, everyone. So tonight, I'm going to give you guys a brief synopsis about my guest who's about to come on the show. This is The Making of a Superhero, a life of intense dedication. Now, from an illustrious beginning as the world's youngest professional ice skater at 2 years of age to his father's traveling ice show, to becoming the world's fastest reader while in high school reading 30,000 words per minute with 90% compensation as tested by the American Medical Society of Beverly Hills, to an aspiring young actor at UCLA whose first acting interview landing him the role of Robin, the Boy Wonder, in the famed 1966 Batman television series that became the #1 rated TV show in the world, to creating and operating with his wife Tracy, Gentle Giants Rescue and Adoptions, the world's largest giant breed dog rescue during the last 30 years, saving more than 15,500 dogs and hundreds of cats, finding each and every one a safe forever home, to also creating with Gentle Giants natural non-GMO pet food and Gentle Giants special feeding and care program for dogs and cats that have been living as long as 30 plus healthy active years with a wonderful quality of life. Recently receiving 2 awards from the President of the United States, the President's Volunteer Service Award for rescuing many thousands of dogs and cats during the last 30 years, and the President's Lifetime Achievement Award for creating Gentle Giants unique pet foods and Gentle Giants special feeding and care programs to help precious pets live longer and healthier. In addition, at the same time, the United Nations Association of America awarded both Burt and Tracy individually their humanitarian award. Burt Ward has dedicated his life to accomplishment and charity. Please welcome to the show my man, humanitarian, and a great guy to boot, Burt Ward. Burt, how you doing, sir?
Hello, citizen.
He's called from a great place up beyond he's got a deli behind. No, he's not a deli. They're all real. They're all great animals. Burt, it's a pleasure having you on the show, man. How are you today, brother?
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Of course. Listen, you have a long bio. but I'm going to tell people right now, if you ever get a chance to read his bio, read it because it's worth the read. It's worth the pages. It's a page turner. And there are things about Burt you may not even know that I didn't even know. We're going to dive right into it. So, Burt, even like it says in your bio, you were a boy wonder the minute you were born. I don't think your mom knew what to do with you. There were so many great things about you. I mean, I've learned that you held literally the world record at some point of, I think it was 30,000 words per minute.
Speed reading, yeah, with 90% comprehension.
How? Like, how did you even do that? That's
Well,
insane.
first of all, in that particular case, it's years of study. It just doesn't happen. It's okay. This is years of study at our high school and also at the university at UCLA. I had a fabulous reading teacher, J.E. Sparks. He was a professor, expert guy. Anyway, I became fascinated in high school with speed reading. I started as an average reader, which an average reader reads 240 words a minute with about 40% comprehension. And over the years, I built up to where I was tested in front of the American Medical Association of Beverly Hills, all doctors,
Yep.
and clocked at 30,000 words a minute with 90% comprehension. Let me give you an idea what that equivocates to.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
would equivocate to reading the entire play of Macbeth in 1 minute. That would equivocate to, well, when I read War and Peace, 1,442 pages, while I was at UCLA, I read that in 45 minutes and got an A essay final at UCLA on that, particular thing. So, and again, you say, well, how do you do it? Well, there's actual techniques to it. I'll give you two real quick. For example, there's something called indented reading. The average person, when they goes to read a book or read a newspaper column, they actually start their glance just outside in the margin instead of, and so the first thing you learn is you force yourself to start 1 inch inside the margin, and when you
Right.
get to the end of the page there, you stop 1 inch inside. So you have to force your peripheral vision to see more. So that's called indented reading. Then there's something called space reading. Most people, they look at a line and they look at that line when they're reading it.
Yeah,
Well,
I do
if
too.
you space reading, you look between the two lines and you have to relax and really accommodate yourself to see what's above and what's below. All right. And the key thing is you're looking for, because this is work. This isn't like pleasure reading. You're
Yeah.
looking for who, what, why, when, and where. 5 things. And that's all, that's information. You're looking to glean. You're eliminating the articles, the the thes, and things like that. So
Mhm.
to get to the speed I got to, because Evelyn Wood, there was a course created called Evelyn Wood. That was
Yeah.
using your hand. No, this is way beyond the hand. This is taking the glances to effectively glance at it. And it's all about the number of glances, if you think about it, right? The more
Mhm.
glances you have, the slower it slows you down. But this got to a point where I could basically glance at a page at a time with a single glance. And then boom, next page, next page, next page, next page, like that.
That's so impressive. Like, I'm beyond impressive right now. Impressive. I'm
Well,
beyond
and listen, when
impressed, Bert.
I left UCLA to go do Batman, the dean personally begged me not to leave. I mean, nobody knew how successful it was going to be. She said, please don't go. You're in the top 3% in the nation
Yeah,
in math and science. You should be a nuclear physicist.
of course. You had,
I think I like what I do better, though.
I think so. I think so. I mean, you could have went into so many fields. You sound like an older version of Goodwill Hunting, um, which I'm going to throw that. I think everybody's going to agree with me on that. I mean, even prior to that, you were pretty much one of the youngest professional ice skaters back in the day. You did
Yeah,
that.
at 2 years of age, my father owned a traveling ice show. It was called Rhapsody on Ice. It was the predecessor to Ice Capades. This is before Ice Capades,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
and it was so funny because something people say, well, I'm sure you don't remember. Actually, I remember something from that show, and let me tell you what it was. Because I would come out, they would introduce, and I mean, you talk about little. My skates, including the blades, were like 7.5 inches long. I mean, that's including the blade. Not the shoe is much
Wow.
smaller, but the
Yeah,
blades. and they would my father would have two of the top skaters come out, and they'd skate me around these big rinks, because my father would rent huge arenas, and they put ice and freeze it and all that kind of stuff. So everybody would say, oh, okay, well, he's holding their hands. But then the second time around, they let me go, and I skated by myself. Nobody could believe it. And I could not see anybody individually, because remember, when you're on ice and you have lots of lights on you, everything is black, but you could hear people. You could hear people like roaring, that they couldn't believe anything like that. So I do remember that.
You have a childhood I think a lot of us never experienced, and you had the intelligence of an adult at such a young age. And we're going to transgress a little farther in your life where, real quick, because I can relate to this. So your dad was a realtor, I was a realtor, but you ended up meeting a great man called Saul David, 20th Century Fox, got the interview for Batman, um, which was literally the turning point of your life. You probably didn't even realize it at the time because it was a brand new concept coming out. But God makes everybody for a reason, whether you call him God, Jesus, Allah, whatever you call him, right? They make everybody for a reason. I think you being trained the way you are on learning how to read in such a fast pace made you the perfect actor, because you already know the words. Now you just got to incorporate the vision of what these words mean, and that's where acting comes in.
Yeah, you're right. Well, let me tell you something. 1,100 young actors
Yeah.
tried out for the part. 1,100 were interviewed. Okay. After I got the job, the executive producer, William Dozier, came to me and said, Burt, would you like to know why we selected you? And I said, yes, sir, I would. And he said, we thought, what if there was really no television involved here? What if there really was a Batman and really a Robin? And when we thought in that terms, we thought that you personally would be it. So let me tell you what we want you to do for this series. We only want you to do two things. We want you, one, to be yourself, and two, to be enthusiastic. Well, I mean, being enthusiastic.
And three, don't get any taller.
And I'll tell you what's funny with Adam. I loved Adam. Oh my God, we were the best friends, which is so rare, But anyway, we're incredibly great friends, and yet it drove him crazy because I could simply look at the script, literally read my lines, and instantly remember them. And poor Adam had a teleprompter, and sometimes he couldn't read the teleprompter properly. He said, Burt, stop. Got to make a few mistakes. You're making me look bad.
It's like, holy Batman, can't you read the prompter? Like, come on.
and he liked her. Adam was so wonderful. His character, if you think about it, we were a comic duo, really. I mean, for kids, it was serious hero worship. But for everybody else, it was a comic duo. And what were the greatest comic duos in history? You think about it. There were great extremes, great contrast. For example, Laurel and Hardy. You know what I mean? Ed McMahon and Johnny Carson. Great contrast, between them. And in the case with Adam and I, he's like almost 6'4". They put 4-inch heels on him to make him 6'8". They took off the heels of mine. I was 5'7.5", but they tried to make me look smaller. And so he would talk very grand. And Adam really, he envisioned himself kind of like Charlton Heston. I mean, he told me one time he really understood what it was like to play Batman when he watched Charlton Heston, in the Ten Commandments and received the word of God. I mean, and I said, oh God, Adam, don't tell anybody that. But so when he would talk extra slow and very suave, I would be that much faster. And here's the interesting thing. In 120 episodes, 32 different directors, I can't even imagine how many different writers. Not one time in the entire 3 years of filming 120 episodes did any director ever ask me to say my line in a different way. Not once.
It was perfect. You made the character, because the one thing I know about Hollywood, directors love finding that actor where they become the character that they didn't even know they wanted. And that happens in some of the greatest films where they have an idea what the character would be. They bring in people and they, audition them. But then they meet somebody like you and goes, you know what? That's Robin, not what I thought. That's Robin. And then they're like, that's it. It's
Let me
like,
give you a quick example. Robert Butler, very famous director, directed the pilot, 3-week pilot. So they really put some time and money in it. So there was a scene where we drive up to this warehouse. It's supposedly a museum, and the Riddler we think is going to rob the museum. Anyway, we pull up to this warehouse outside, and they had it set up where I was going to. They had the camera on my side of the car, Batmobile, and they said, "Now, Burt, you're going to get out of the car and you're going to go towards the warehouse." I said, "Okay, fine." So I'm dressed up, I'm in costume in the Batmobile. So when they said action, they were thinking I was going to open the door and get out of the car in a regular way. Well, I was motivated that the door is closed. I'm sitting on the seat. I stood up on the seat, stood up on the door, walked to the end of the Batmobile on the very edge of that very narrow, fine edge of the Batmobile, and jumped off. And the director said, cut. Oh, Burt, no. We're not set up for that. We are expecting you to come out the door. I said, okay, well, I'll do that. And he said, wait a minute. What you did is far better than what I could have ever created. All right, go get the track. You know what I mean? Get the plywood. We got to, and they tracked it so that, they followed me and I did the jump off. But it was something that I came up with naturally. And it was those kinds of things, the fist punch, all of the characterizations, they weren't something I contrived. I was all part of the action, of getting into the scene.
Yeah, and it's such a great thing that you did. You got so into your character as you. Superheroes, and that's why people love Batman and Robin, they always will be. It's the one superhero that actually can exist. That's why today shows like Daredevil, right? The Arrow, they're becoming popular because vigilantes are human beings with money that can afford gadgets but still act human.
Right.
So by you jumping out of the car, that's your superpowers, because no normal person would be like, oh, somebody's getting killed. Hey, could you open the car door for me? I need to get out. No, superheroes jump out, right?
Exactly.
And it was such a great idea. Now, speaking of a superhero, to a lot of people's eyes, a lot of people don't know you used to spar with a icon who was also in the show, his first fight scene, and I think a lot of people don't know this, Bruce Lee.
Right. Yeah. Well, Bruce and I were actually friends. Yeah. Do you know that we lived in the same we didn't know it at first, but we lived in the same condominium complex. And Bruce and I became friends. A piece of trivia is Bruce Lee became the most famous cinematic martial artist probably there will ever be. I mean, okay, incredibly nice guy too. Very funny, nice guy. But the thing is that the piece of trivia is that his first fight scene, actually fighting when he's recorded on film, was fighting me on Batman. He was cast as Kato in the Green Hornet, and the same executive producer, William Dozier, that hired me, hired him, and our show became #1 and #2 in the world. Okay, and that was in January 12th, 1966. We first aired. And then he started, the Green Hornet was going to start the following September on the same network, ABC. And what a better way to kick it off than to have the new show come on, the #1 show in the entire world. And they had that famous fight scene where, Batman and Robin fight the Green Hornet and Kato. So it was tremendous. And Bruce and I were actually friends. I remember having dinner, he and his wife, Linda, and this when Brandon, his son, was only 6 months of age. Okay. And we went down into Chinatown. And of course, Bruce, who had lived in Hong Kong, knew everything to order that wasn't on the menu. And we just had a great time. So, and I actually did train with him. The man was incredible. He trained 8 hours a day. It didn't matter if it was Christmas Day. He trained 8 hours a day every single day. And he was incredibly fast.
Yeah. And people don't understand the training that some of you guys do. Like, you train your brain to be the actor you are today, because that's realistic. Bruce trained his body to become the person he is today. just like Steph Curry trains every day to become the best shooter of all time. People don't understand that is people like you and Bruce and Steph, you earned your money. It's because you were being paid based on what you trained yourself with. And there's somebody else, fast forward, you have a lot of people you've ran into over the years that have launched careers. You were at the Harvard University and they were honoring you Man of the Year. And there was a security crew that actually it was students that acted like security crew. And
Right.
they did a little prank.
That's
Explain
right.
that prank and who the leader of this group was as well.
Right. Well, that was Conan O'Brien. And, I ended up being on his show in 1996, and he and I kind of laughed over that event where I was voted 1984 Man of the Year at Harvard University. Actually, I won over Juan Carlos of Spain. I was selected above him, and I went there to speak, and I brought my costume, put it on a mannequin there on the stage so people could see it. And he came up and said, "Oh, there's a report that there might be an attempt to take your costume. We're with the security here, at Harvard, and we're going to watch it." So they took it off stage, and they actually were the ones that were playing the little joke. I did get it back after 2 days, but you're looking at a $500,000 value of the original Robin costume, which I later donated to charity. But it was a little bit of an eye raiser and a blood raiser too, blood pressure raiser.
When I read that and I saw the person who led it, I'm not surprised because he's just an Anik type of guy. Now we're gonna keep moving forward. First of all, I'm gonna say this on behalf of all my friends and fans and my family. Seriously, congratulations on Batman. You and Adam West, like you said, had done something that catapulted literally DC comic universe, Marvel universe, I think, exploded from that as well, even though it's separate. You're letting people know that there are real superheroes out there, even though they're on TV. Your characters related to firemen and police officers and people that go on
Exactly.
a daily basis. And that's why I love the commissioner, the whole side of how they brought the police department, you guys worked together. There was a message behind Batman, and you and Adam pulled it off and developed a friendship that you guys had. That's the best thing you could do. And from that, you met somebody beautiful, right?
Right.
Met your sweetheart. I think it was in '89 you met Tracy. A
Right.
year later, married.
Right.
And let's talk about what you're doing today because we can go on and on about Batman all the time.
Sure.
I could talk to you forever about Batman. I know everybody will want to hear it. But also, let's talk about what you're doing today because a lot of actors back in your time just live off of what they've known for, the Batman. But you took your star status to give back to the world because it's
Yes.
not just about humans. Tell me
Right. Well,
about when you started this foundation, man. 'Cause
yeah. Well, what happens? We moved inland when Tracy, my wife, and I had our daughter, and we were living at the beach in a very high, overlooking the water, which all these balconies, and you got a 3-year-old is like not good on a balcony that's 40 feet up. So we said, no, let's move to a single level house, and we moved inland here to a city called Norco, which is like the last western town in America where horses have the right of way over cars. And you talk about all Americana. When you drive down the street, instead of just the dotted white lines, they have dotted red, white, and blue lines. I mean, it's really pretty cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
we decided to get a dog for our daughter, and we found a Great Dane that needed to be rescued. And I didn't know anything about rescue. I said, well, what does really rescue mean? Well, what it is, people can't always keep their pets. Maybe
Right.
something happened in the family or a loss of job or transfer overseas, whatever it is. And they have to give up their pet, usually their dog or their cat. And if they don't have anybody who will take it from them, they give it to a shelter, and shelters are overrun. They're so overrun that I hate to say it, but in some cases, if you drop a dog off or a cat off at a shelter, they actually kill it before you leave the parking lot. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really, really upsetting. Okay. Millions of dogs, mainly puppies, are put to death every month only because there's not enough space and not enough people, and it's excessive breeding. Anyway, long story short, the person, whoever had been rescuing Great Danes in Southern California, was a lady apparently, and she had died. So now when anybody had to give up a Great Dane, unless they had a neighbor or somebody just walk off the street and take that dog, they were taking it to shelters. And these big, gentle giants, and that's what they're known for. The bigger they are, the more gentle they are. They're being put to death left and right. Now, traditionally, these dogs normally only have a short lifespan.
Yeah.
Mastiffs and Irish Wolfhounds live 6 to 8 years. Danes live 7 to 9 years. Long story short, we started taking them. And by the end of the first month, I said, Tracy, just for a couple weeks, we can't let them die. We'll find somebody to take it over from us. Well, that's 31 years ago. And I got to tell you, Todd, nobody's come over to take it from us. Anyway, in the first month, I had in my home 102 full-size Great Danes from all these shelters all over Southern California, Northern California, Arizona, and then 61 puppies under 7 weeks of age. My wife, Tracy, again, we never bred a dog. All we ever did was rescue, but all these shelters, somebody would turn in a litter. And of course, sometimes there's disease in these shelters. So they want to get any puppies out of there real quick. So my wife, Tracy, slept on our kitchen floor for 4 months because she would bring in one mother and her 8 puppies. And you got to be careful. Great Danes are so big when they stand up and they want to go out to go to the bathroom. If they step on a puppy, that's it. The puppy's gone. This is like one of those things with the shells where you got to make sure with 4 feet and 8 puppies, nobody gets stepped on. And she put out that mother, bring in the next litter. By the time she finished the 7th litter, it was time to start the first litter over again. She lived for 4 months on our kitchen floor. Anyway, so we started doing this, and we saved in the last 31 years more than 15,500 dogs. Everyone would have been put to death. Now, these are not just giant breeds, because people would come and say, here's my Great Dane, but I guess I'll have to take my Chihuahua to the shelter and they'll put him to sleep. And Tracy and I look at each other, no, leave the here. And so when basically we took the little one too. So my wife, Tracy, has now redefined a Great Dane. If it has 4 legs and a tail, it must be a Great Dane. So anyway, we saved all these dogs and they all live in our house. Okay, but we adopt them. So at any given time, we have 45 to 50, 24 hours a day, Scott, 7 days a week for 31 years. Now, here's the thing. Because they traditionally live short lives, if we didn't adopt one and we lost one, Tracy and I literally sobbed. I mean, we're very sensitive about life. So we spent millions of our own money to create a unique food different from every other dog food, every other cat food in the world, that is the finest in the world. And we are proud to announce that we have dogs consistently living twice their normal lifespan, and some dogs living as much as 4 times. We have one of our customers has a dog that 2 months ago turned 31 years of age. Who's ever heard of a 31-year-old dog? We're going to videotape him next week. How do we know? I said, how do you know you got the dog's 31? He says, I was there at the shelter when I got him at 6 weeks of age. I mean, these are people that know exactly what's going on. I've got 5 dogs here now that are over 20 years of age, 5 of them. Okay, that's not an anomaly. That's consistency. Long story short, we make this food. It's called Gentle Giants, but it's not just for big, for all dogs, all ages. And a Gentle Giants cat food. And we're in all the Petco stores all around America, 1,500 stores, and in a lot of local grocery stores and online from all the online companies. And I just want to mention that because people who love their dogs, let me tell you something, Todd, there's a lot of older people, for example, maybe their kids have grown up, maybe their husband's no longer there. And maybe that pet, that dog or that cat is all they have left. Okay, and they want that animal to live with them. I had one lady call me. She was sobbing. I could hardly understand her. So, well, what are you so upset about? She says, for the last 3 years, my little dog that used to jump up and sleep with me every night on the bed has not been able to jump up. I fed your food, and 5 weeks later, my dog is jumping up on the bed again. Thank you for giving me my puppy back. I mean, that grabs you. Anyway, that's what we do. It's our charity. And you want to know what else we're doing? We're also giving back. So first thing we did was save the dogs we could save. Secondly, we created a food that could help millions. There's 80 million dogs in America and millions outside of America. We did this. We take no salary from this. This is not about money. This is about charity and loving. But what are we also doing? On our beautiful 5-acre estate, we have our own soundstage. We have our own animation studio. We have our own recording studio. We're fully funded. We don't need to borrow any money. We're making our own television shows. We're making our own feature films, all of which was self-funded, okay? Not asking anybody for money, but what are we trying to do? We're trying to make a better world, Todd. My wife, Tracy, and I, when we leave this planet, we want to leave this planet better off than we found it.
Love it. First of all, I have goosebumps because you're so passionate about this. Because the one thing I hate, and I think you can agree, you always meet people that do charities or get involved with charities, but how many actually really get involved? Really not doing it for the 20% write-off, right? Because we all know companies do that because they have to save taxes. But people like you that actually really give a shit, and I'm saying it like that, really give a shit. And your wife must love you because any woman today would not sleep on the floor for me. If anything, I'll be lucky if I get the couch.
But think of the commitment. First of all, when we started the rescue, all these dogs were sick. I mean, they were coming in all kinds. Some were sick, some were healthy. But we would spend 4 or 5 nights a week at animal clinics, staying after midnight, begging the vet to keep trying to save a dog's life. Okay, I mean, things like that. And it's that kind of a commitment. My wife, Tracy, she spends 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 31 years, not miss one single day. What does that mean when you have a commitment with 50 animals in your house? That means there's no Sundays off. There's no holidays. There's no trips to Hawaii. This is all about life and death and the preciousness of life. And we always, this is our whole phrase. Life is the most precious commodity in the world.
Yep. 100%, 100%. I want to give you a hug. Like, seriously. Well, you know what? Yeah, like virtual hug. Believe me, I'm going to be out in LA a lot soon. So I already told Riley, listen, I want to meet Burt, just give him a hug. Like, this is, I'm picturing like a big ranch of all these dogs that people can come either pet, maybe adopt, and calling it Robin's Hood, the neighborhood of the best dogs in the world. It just came to my head. I'm like, I could see like a ranch just called Robin's Hood.
Right. Well,
and you can pet.
Yeah. Well, that's what's so interesting is that, and now our dogs are living so long, we actually have become more of a sanctuary because we now have our limit, but they're all alive and they're beyond the adoption age. Most people want to adopt a dog that's 3 or 4 years old. I think our youngest dog here is 14 and a half years old. I mean, and these are breeds that only maximum live 7 to 9, and our youngest at 14 and a half and our oldest at 26. And so these will all live their life out before we can take in new dogs. But we love animals. All of the animals live communally together. One of the things that people can't believe, especially animal trainers, dog and pet trainers, when they see our animals dogs standing shoulder to shoulder, eating out of our raised animal feeders, because that you need to raise the food to help them live longer, without any argument, without any fighting. No, people say, how can you do that? I've been a trainer for 25 years. You can never have dogs standing shoulder to shoulder eating without fighting. We've trained them all.
I love them. And again, Burt, congrats on everything up to this point. I love the fact that you dedicated your life to being a superhero, and not just for humans, for animals alike. And and the best superhero in the world is somebody who helps the helpless. And whether people know it or not, animals are helpless because they're in the human world. We're not in the animal world. Like, we're in the human world. We're the most dangerous, because we are animals. We are the most dangerous animal on the planet. And when that animal turns around to help out the helpless animals, even lions, you don't want to be next to a lion because I'm Italian. He'll love my oregano. Like, he'll just eat all that. But when we're able to get back like you are, and you're so passionate about it, this is where a lot of people look. Now, if people want to donate or get involved, what is the website they can go to look you up?
Yeah. Now, listen, actually, yes, we have a 501c3 IRS sanctioned charity that people make a donation, but we actually say, listen, you don't need to. We're doing fine. Okay. Everybody's always asking for money. We're not asking for any money. Donate to help any cause you want. And that's a wonderful thing. Anytime you can save a life, a human, an animal, that's a wonderful thing. And I compliment. We're covered. We take care of everything ourselves. We've never taken a salary for anything we've done with this. Actually, we've put in millions of dollars more. We're totally upside down, but that's okay because that's all part of our charity. But we love animals. We love what we're doing. We love humanity. We want to see a better world. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that through the films we make, that we can reach millions and millions of people and try to encourage people to do kind things, to do better things, to be better to others. I mean, I know it may sound utopian, but that's where we are. That's us.
I love it. Guys, taking this guy right here. Burt, first of all, Burt, I can talk to you forever. Really good. You're so inspiring. You're so inspirational. I love your energy. Guys, take it from this guy. He went from Cave Crusader to Cat Crusader to Dog Crusader. He started out as a superhero when he was in his mom's womb. He came out a superhero. Got paid to be a superhero, and now he's giving back as a superhero because, like you said, humanity is worth living for. And that right there is the definition of a legend in Burt Ward. So Burt, thank you for being on FaceTime with Todd Wharton, man. It was true inspiration to have you today, seriously.
Well, thank you. And you know, as we said on Batman, to the Batmobile!
So don't go away, guys, because coming right back is hip-hop artist Jaylanie performing a hit song, Disbelief, right here on FaceTime with Todd Wharton, so stick around.
Listen up. Are you embarrassed to show your feet in public? Do you wear water shoes to the pool or wear socks to bed? Do you bury your feet in the sand when you're at the beach? Do your feet look like this? Okay, calm down. And that's why you must have Fix Your Fungal Nail. You just simply want to get rid of those gross, disgusting, embarrassing toenails. Trust me, I'm the queen of toes. Check it out. Go to fixyourfeetproducts.com and I'll see you soon.
Go to fixyourfeetproducts.com. That's fixyourfeetproducts.com.
So here she is performing a hip-hop song, Disbelief. This is hip-hop artist Jaylanie.
Turn it up. You be sipping green, tryna pop it like you got it. Took one look at his cup, I laughed him out like he a comic. Shit embarrassing. 25 a line, you went and copped it. Boy, that shit is not a high. Walk right out, I tell him pa. Bitches wanna be my friend, but I be scared I don't reply. Ain't on my level, we ain't seeing eye to eye. Fuck her bezel looking like a prong, the way that hoe be shining. I be with the game, might kill a hoe behind my alliance. Looking for the competition, them hoes must be hiding. Must have been in that submarine, cause I can't really find her. I can't say I'm the best thing out my city, I be lying. I can't say that hoe is fucking with me, at least she trying. Baby, give it up. She hate her life, so she projecting, I don't give a fuck. I be out the country on an island where you wish you was. Hopping out of foreign. All these hoes is fucking, you can't come around being boring. Run around in a go-kart, cause the state is too enormous. Stay with the machines, I feel like that little one bitch Florence. I just want the money and the power and the glory. Lambo switching lanes, but I ain't Tory, I be flooring. People be the mob, make run the world that I be touring. I feel like I'm busy bones, I got the ball and scored it. Mommy, he adore me, he can't never leave. Told him if he break my heart, then he go after recipes. Don't break the fight up till I'm done, I ain't gon' stop until she bleed. I got my foot on bitches' necks, no, I ain't tryna let them breathe. Bitches fucking up the economy, it's a disease. She getting busy for a band, won't get the same shit out of me. He run a trap, he come back home, I make him give it all to me. Feel like I'm thug, I tell my man they all I want, they all I see. They ain't think I was come like this, put him in disbelief. Must've thought this shit was sweet, but I ain't turning the other cheek. Slimy.
So first and foremost, guys, I want to thank my guests, Burt Ward and Jaylanie, for stopping by FaceTime with Todd Wharton. Burt, it is such an honor to have you on the show. Congratulations on an iconic career. the boy wonder, Robin in Batman or Robin. And more importantly, congratulations on the creation of Gentle Giants. I think you and your wife Tracy are doing something beautiful for this world, and there should be more people like you dedicating their lives to becoming a real superhero. And also, Jaylanie, I love the song. Thanks again for being on the show. Guys, check out Jaylanie on all social media platforms. And guys, also, when you get a moment, check out Gentle Giants. If you want to take a moment and maybe help out, make a donation, or just go out on your own and make a difference in a pet's life, I think you've done justice for the world, and you yourself became a humanitarian and became people like Tracy and Burt, because we need a lot more people like them in the world. Guys, I hope you loved this episode. You know I did. But like I always say at the end of the day, if you're not living a passion in life, it means like you're living. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon.